Hi, welcome to Mini Movies. Today I'm going to explain an American science fiction film called The Time Machine. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. Alex is a scientist who works at Columbia University as a professor of applied mechanics and engineering and always gets into trouble for his radical theories. He also is a person obsessed with the idea of time travel. One day, Alex is working on a formula, and he's so invested in his work that his friend David reminds him of his date with his girlfriend Emma. Alex suddenly packs everything and rushes back to his house to get ready. On his way, Alex and David discuss all of Alex's proposals that the university has been rejecting for a long time. David suggests that he make his proposals less complicated, and once the authorities understand, they'll believe him. At his house, the housekeeper Watchet helps him get ready with his fancy clothes, and he leaves to meet Emma. As he enters the park, he notices a motor car besides the gates. He's astonished to see its design, and has a good look at it. After that, he goes into the park and meets Emma at the skating rink. They both walk through the park for some time, and later, Alex proposes to Emma with a ring in which her birthstone is embedded. However, the romantic moment is short-lived when a robber emerges from nearby bushes and holds a gun on them. He demands that they give him money, and Alex gives him everything he has. But the robber is not done. He wants Emma's engagement ring too. Alex tries to intervene, and during the struggle, unfortunately the gun goes off and Emma is fatally wounded, dying in Alex's arms. For the next 4 years, Alex spends every waking hour in his laboratory working on his time-traveling machine to bring Emma back. Eventually, he succeeds in building a properly working time travel machine. Yet Alex is still not able to get over Emma's death. David and Watchet are worried about his self-imposed exile. And one day, Alex is busy with his work. David arrives to meet him and notices something on the other side of the curtain. As he walks towards the curtain to check on what Alex is working on, Alex stops him and tells him that he'll show it to him when the time comes. Before leaving, David invites Alex to dinner in hopes that it would cause him to leave his lab and eventually return to a normal life. But Alex postpones it. After a week, Alex dresses up for the first time in the last 4 years, and with the time machine finished, he travels back to the same night 4 years ago and intercepts Emma before she was destined to meet his 1899 counterpart. Escorting her away from the park, they walk back to her apartment, where he leaves her out in the street to purchase some flowers. However, despite Alex having removed her from the danger of the robber, Emma is knocked down and hit by a horse cart and dies. Alex understands that he can't change Emma's fate because if he prevents one way of Emma's death, another will take its place. Disappointed with the result, Alex decides to go forward in time to find out if there are any other solutions for the problem in the future. So Alex travels to 2030 and learns that the moon is being prepared for colonization. He then visits the New York Public Library and talks with Vox 114, the library's holographic, artificially intelligent librarian. He's shocked to see the improvements that happened to technology over the years. While talking to Vox, he gets information on H.G. Wells, Isaac Asimov, Harlan Ellison, and even one of his own papers. But Vox does not have any information on the time travel theory. Instead, Vox tells Alex that time travel is impossible. Frustrated by his answer, Alex then asks about the time machine itself and is given information on H.G. Wells' novel, The Time Machine. Finding nothing of use in 2030, he then travels again further to 2037, where he finds that the moon mining operation has disrupted the lunar orbit, and as a result, the moon is breaking apart and showering Earth with massive chunks of rock. The gravitational forces of the body's change cause frequent earthquakes and tsunamis on Earth. He's also able to see a huge crack on the surface of the moon from Earth. 2 policemen who are evacuating people try to arrest Alex and take him to the evacuation center, but he escapes from them. He makes it into the time machine just as the city is being destroyed, but is knocked unconscious, and he fails to witness the destruction of human civilization on Earth. Alex and his time machine speed through hundreds of millennia, and when he regains consciousness, Alex is in 802,701 AD. He then quickly stops the time machine before falling unconscious again. After an undisclosed amount of time, Alex wakes up in a bed with his wounds healed. As he puts up his clothes, a little boy, Kalen, approaches him and runs away. Alex follows the boy outside the tent and finds an entire civilization that's devolved to a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. They call themselves the Eloi. These survivors have built their homes into the side of a cliff on what resembles Manhattan. Everyone comes near him and watches him in surprise. Alex tries to speak to them in English, but no one knows the language. Suddenly, a girl, Mara, comes out from the crowd and talks to him in fluent English. Alex tells her that he's a time traveler, but Mara tells the others that he's just a wandering fool, so they don't kill him. Alex starts spending his time with Mara and begins to develop a relationship with her. After some days, when Alex is introduced to Aloy society, he's shown a collection of stone fragments and signs that once came from New York, including a Tiffany & Company sign, the Empire State Building, and a section of tiled panels from the Brooklyn Bridge at City Hall subway station. While Alex is inspecting the machine after seeing an Aloy memorial for their parents, Mara tells him to go back to his own time and live his life, and also requests him to take her younger brother Kalen with him. Suddenly, a loud honking is heard in the background. Mara freaks out and runs to save Kalen, while the confused Alex follows her. Everyone starts running back to their homes. Suddenly, Alex comes face to face with a beast-like creature, Morlocks. As he stares, shocked to see them, more of them emerge from the ground and start attacking everyone. They capture people and take them inside the ground. Alex then sees a Morlock holding Mara, going inside the soil. He runs to save her, but before he reaches her, she's already gone. After the Morlocks left the surface, Alex inquires with others where the Morlocks took Mara. He's told that the ghost might know. He then goes to meet the ghost, and it turns out that the Aloy are speaking about Vox 114, the holographic librarian that Alex had talked to when he visited Earth in 2030, before the destruction of the moon. Alex is shocked to see it still functioning after all these years. He asks Vox what's going on in the world now. Vox tells him that human beings have evolved into two races, Aloy and Morlocks. The Morlocks stay underground and only come out to the surface to hunt Aloys for survival. With the help of Vox, Alex finds a way into the underground realm of the Morlocks, but is captured and taken to an underground chamber where Mara is kept in a cage. Alex meets the Morlocks leader, the Uber Morlock, in his chamber. The Uber Morlock explains that when the moon was destroyed, some people sank under the ground with nowhere to go. After many years, they evolved into flesh-eating Morlocks. Those who miraculously survived on the surface repopulated as the Aloys. The Uber Morlock revealed that they have a caste-like society, with each caste filling a different role in Morlock society. The ruling caste of society is super-intelligent telepaths, while the hunters that Alex encountered were so far bred to be predators. The leader also has the ability to read others' minds, and therefore he understands that Alex is a time traveler, and his desire is to bring Emma back. The Uber Morlock then reveals the reason why Alex can't alter Emma's fate, and that he's caught in the temporal paradox. Since Emma's death is the prime factor that drove him to build the time machine, he can't use the time machine without her death being incorporated into the timeline, because if not for Emma's death, he would have no reason to build the machine in the first place. The Uber Morlock then shows him the time machine and states that the Morlocks would not exist without those like Alex in their quest for science and technology. He wants Alex to go back to where he came from and doesn't want to destroy the balance of the society they live in. Alex quietly obliges and gets into his machine, but before leaving, he asks for his watch back, and when Uber Morlock approaches to give him his watch, Alex drags him in with him. The two of them fight until Alex pushes him outside of the time sphere. As time moves, Alex watches the Uber Morlock getting old and dying outside of the time bubble. Halfway through his journey, Alex slows the time machine down as the sky appears over him. The time machine shows the year 635,427,810 AD, and the landscape is now a desolate wasteland, completely dominated by the Morlocks. Finally accepting the fact that he can never save Emma, Alex travels back in time to rescue the trapped Mara from the Morlocks. After setting her free, he sets the time machine to travel to the future and uses his pocket watch to jam the controls, causing it to malfunction and explode, creating a time distortion stream. Alex and Mara escape from the underground just as the explosion kills off the Morlocks. Trapped in the future, Alex resolves to build a new life for himself with Mara and her brother. He begins to rebuild civilization, while the Vox tells Aloy's children about the stories in his memory. Alex takes Mara and Kalen to the place where his lab used to be. Somewhere in another time, David chats with Alex's elderly housekeeper, Watch It, before leaving and throwing away his bowler hat on the street.